Welcome to the School of the Lost Tribes. The burning bush, God's revelation to Moses. God reveals himself to Moses through a burning bush, which though on fire, is not consumed. This miraculous sign catches Moses' attention and initiates his calling as the deliverer of Israel from Egypt. The burning bush symbolizes God's enduring presence and his power to sustain his people amid adversity. Through this encounter, God declares his awareness of Israel's suffering and his commitment to deliver them. 1. God's call to Moses at the burning bush. Acts 7:30-34. Now when 40 years had passed, an angel appeared to him in the wilderness of Mount Sinai, in a flame of fire in a bush. When Moses saw it, he was amazed at the sight. And as he drew near to look, there came the voice of the Lord. I am the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, and of Isaac, and of Jacob. And Moses trembled, and did not dare to look. Then the Lord said to him, Take off the sandals from your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. I have surely seen the affliction of my people who are in Egypt, and have heard their groaning, and I have come down to deliver them. And now come, I will send you to Egypt. Stephen recounts Moses' encounter with God at the burning bush, highlighting God's miraculous presence in the flame that does not consume the bush. God's message to Moses conveys both his holiness and his compassion for Israel, whom he has not forgotten. This revelation marks the beginning of God's plan to deliver Israel, with Moses as his chosen instrument. God's call to take off your sandals signifies the holiness of this encounter as God draws near to fulfill his promises to Israel. Two, the burning bush as a symbol of God's presence and power. Exodus 3:1-5. Now Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian, and he led his flock to the west side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. He looked, and behold, the bush was burning, yet it was not consumed. And Moses said, I will turn aside to see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. When the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called to him out of the bush, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Do not come near. Take your sandals off your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy ground. This account in Exodus provides the original story of the burning bush, where Moses encounters the presence of God on Mount Horeb. The bush, aflame but unburned, symbolizes God's sustaining power and his enduring covenant with Israel. God calls Moses by name, emphasizing the personal nature of his mission to deliver his people. The command to remove his sandals signifies the holiness of God's presence, which demands reverence. This event serves as a foundational moment in Israel's history, where God, who sees and hears the suffering of his people, initiates their redemption. Three, the blessing of the burning bush for Israel. Deuteronomy 33:13-16. And of Joseph he said, Blessed by the Lord be his land, with the choicest gifts of heaven above, and of the deep that crouches beneath, with the choicest fruits of the sun, and the rich yield of the months, with the finest produce of the ancient mountains, and the abundance of the everlasting hills, with the best gifts of the earth and its fullness, and the favor of him who dwells in the bush. May these rest on the head of Joseph, on the pate of him who is prince among his brothers. In Moses' final blessing, he recalls God as the one who dwells in the bush. This reference to the burning bush underscores God's active presence with his people and his favor upon them. By mentioning the bush, Moses highlights God's faithful presence as a source of blessing and strength for Israel, a reminder of God's commitment to his covenant. God's favor upon Joseph and Israel is thus connected to the God who revealed himself in fire, sustaining and blessing his people. Four, the burning bush in the teachings of Jesus and the apostles. Mark 12:26, Luke 20:37. And as for the dead being raised, have you not read in the book of Moses, in the passage about the bush, how God spoke to him, saying, I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob? In a discussion with the Sadducees, Jesus refers to the burning bush to affirm the resurrection. By identifying himself as the God of the patriarchs, God reveals his enduring covenant with them, as he is not the God of the dead, but of the living. This passage affirms that God's relationship with Israel is ongoing and eternal, emphasizing his unchanging nature and his continual involvement with his people. Acts 7:35. This Moses, whom they rejected, saying, Who made you a ruler and a judge? This man God sent as both ruler and redeemer by the hand of the angel who appeared to him in the bush. Stephen emphasizes that God chose Moses, whom Israel initially rejected, to be their deliverer. The burning bush encounter signifies God's calling and authority bestowed upon Moses, affirming his role as Israel's leader. The reference to the angel in the bush underscores the divine origin of Moses' mission, with God actively guiding Israel's path to freedom through him. In summary, the burning bush represents God's miraculous and enduring presence, his holiness, and his compassion for Israel's suffering. God's call to Moses from the bush marks the beginning of Israel's redemption, highlighting his commitment to his covenant people. The burning bush remains a powerful symbol throughout Scripture, reminding Israel that their God is both active and unchanging, sustaining them through all circumstances. The story of the burning bush in Exodus 3 is a significant event in the Old Testament, carrying deep meaning and symbolism within the framework of the exclusive doctrine of the Israelites. This event is not merely a miraculous occurrence, but is laden with messages specifically directed at the descendants of Israel, underscoring their unique relationship with God. The burning bush episode exemplifies God's covenantal promise and his ongoing commitment to his chosen people, Israel. The setting and encounter. In Exodus 3:1-10, we read about Moses, who, while tending to the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, encounters a bush that is burning, yet is not consumed by the flames. This phenomenon captures Moses' attention, leading him to approach the bush. God then calls out to Moses from within the bush and reveals his divine plan to deliver the Israelites from bondage in Egypt. Exodus 3:2-3. And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside, and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. The burning bush serves as a powerful symbol of the presence of God. The fire represents his holiness and purity, while the fact that the bush is not consumed indicates God's eternal nature. In the context of the exclusive doctrine, the fire also symbolizes God's refining presence with his people, Israel. Though Israel may undergo trials and tribulations, symbolized by the fire, they will not be destroyed, just as the bush was not consumed. This aligns with the theme of the Israelites being preserved as God's chosen people, despite their suffering. God's covenant with Israel. The purpose of the burning bush encounter goes beyond mere spectacle. It is a reaffirmation of the covenant God made with the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God's declaration to Moses emphasizes his awareness of the suffering of the Israelites in Egypt and his intention to fulfill his promise to deliver them. Exodus 3:6-7. Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. And the Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. In these verses, God identifies himself as the God of the Israelite patriarchs, stressing the exclusive nature of his covenant relationship with Israel. The suffering of the Israelites in Egypt is not unnoticed by God. Instead, it is part of the larger narrative of their chastening and eventual deliverance. According to the exclusive doctrine, this interaction underscores that God's promises and his salvation are directed specifically toward the descendants of Israel. The use of the phrase, my people, further illustrates this unique relationship. Moses, as the deliverer of Israel. The burning bush episode also marks the commissioning of Moses as the chosen deliverer for the children of Israel. God's call to Moses is an affirmation of his plan to use a chosen vessel to lead his people out of bondage, a theme that resonates throughout the narrative of Israel's history. Exodus 3:10. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Here the emphasis is placed on the phrase, my people, the children of Israel. It highlights the fact that the deliverance being spoken of is specific to the Israelites and not a general message for all nations. The exclusive doctrine interprets this as evidence that God's redemptive acts are aimed solely at his covenant people, the descendants of Jacob. The name of God revealed. One of the most profound aspects of the burning bush encounter is the revelation of God's name to Moses. When Moses questions what name he should use when the children of Israel ask who sent him, God responds. Exodus 3:14. And God said unto Moses, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, I am hath sent me unto you. The name I am, Hebrew, Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh, signifies God's eternal, self-existing nature. In the context of the exclusive doctrine, this name further solidifies the idea that God's covenantal relationship is unique to Israel. It is a declaration of his sovereignty and eternal presence specifically tied to his chosen people. God's self-identification as I am is a reminder of his unchanging commitment to the promises made to the patriarchs. The significance of the burning bush for Israel. The burning bush episode is a vivid metaphor for Israel's experience. The bush, though engulfed in flames, is not destroyed, symbolizing Israel's survival despite the fiery trials of Egyptian bondage. It also reflects the divine presence of God dwelling among his people, guiding and preserving them through their tribulations. This preservation is in line with God's promise to Abraham that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars and would inherit the land of Canaan, Genesis 15:5-7. In this light, the burning bush serves as a reassurance to the Israelites that, despite their suffering in Egypt, they are not forsaken. God's presence is with them, and his plan for their deliverance is unfolding, even if they cannot yet see it. According to the exclusive doctrine, this episode is a confirmation of the exclusive promise to Israel and their eventual redemption and restoration. Conclusion. The encounter at the burning bush is not merely a miraculous event in the narrative of Moses, but is a foundational moment that underscores the exclusive relationship between God and the Israelites. It marks the beginning of the fulfillment of the promises made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, highlighting that God's deliverance and salvation are directed specifically toward the descendants of Israel. In the context of the exclusive doctrine, the burning bush is a symbol of God's enduring covenant with Israel, his chosen people. It signifies that, despite their trials, the Israelites will not be consumed, just as the bush was not consumed by the fire. This encounter sets the stage for the exodus from Egypt, a pivotal event that reinforces the idea of Israel's unique role as the people of God and the recipients of his promises.